In the morning, you got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, this kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say, we gon' be okay, we just gotta boom bada boom ba. I don't wanna fight, you know that I'm right. Baby, let me talk to your body. We gon' be okay, hear me when I say.
Death is something that's often not discussed as it relates to the struggles of Black men in America. Death is one of those ominous things that even impacts other men from other races. Often before the storm, there's quiet. And that quiet is normally the grave site where often many men are laid to rest with traumas that they have never processed through to pain, failures, fears, and misunderstandings. I wanted to take the time to talk about a person that I never had the proper time to address when he was living, and his more timely death, which was DMX. I believe that DMX had peace before the storm in an earlier part of his life. And often young Black men in America actually exhibit or go through trauma unresolved for a myriad of reasons. Many of these men go through trauma that was inflicted by seeing the mother's harmed by her boyfriend. But also some of these men go through trauma because they were molested and raped by other men as well. You see, many times in America, trauma always and many times always attests to the trauma that women actually go through, but it never takes the time to contextualize or to understand the pain that many men go through. Often we see the woman as the victim of her trauma, but we never take the time to address the trauma that men go through. Some of the men like R. Kelly, not justifying his negative behavior, but we must take the time to understand how trauma plays a role on behavior. DMX, like so many other men, were born in the inner city without the guidance and the protection of a strong masculine father. And it could be explained that DMX went through a lot of unresolved trauma, unresolved anger, displaced aggression because he didn't have the love and protection and guidance from his father or his community. Many times our young boys are placed in infrastructures and environments due to sometimes the bad choices of their moms. And sometimes the bad choices of their moms was due to them choosing men that were horrible and not suitable to raise a child or a son. Listen to this. Men and women should be held accountable for the choices that they make in life. But often the traumas and the choices that men and the pain that men go through is often undiagnosed or often unheard. And I've taken upon myself to talk about this pain, because until we begin to address the pain of men like DMX and other men that have gone by the graveside with pains unheard, then we will continue to have this circle of disruption and dysfunction that's continuing to permeate the fabric of the American culture. DMX, like so many, are silent because they're in the gravesite. And they have traumas that have either been unheard or unexamined. And because of these ongoing traumas, many created or more or less were part of heinous acts that included sexual abuse to others, acts that included the use of drugs, acts that included them getting involved in activities that were negative or dangerous to their health. That's what happens when you have unresolved trauma. You know and I know that mental health is a stigma that's often marginalized and minimized in the Black community. And because of this marginalization, many men go undiagnosed, unheard, and unhelped. But it's the incessant victimization of the American man and the American male that many times lend to the lens because they go through some of the similar struggles like DMX. You can hear from the catharsis of DMX. You can hear from him pleading for help by using the scripture to articulate and talk about his pain. And while I'm not trying to minimize what DMX did, DMX was complicit in some of his pain, but DMX, like so many, have fears and pains and struggles that were buried at the gravesite. And because of those struggles were buried at the gravesite, many times the grave tells the secrets of those that never got a chance to really tell their story. And because of the grave often tells the secret of those that never got a chance to tell their story, it often attests to what I call men suffering in silence. Go by the gravesite, you will see the tombstones of many men that died before their age. They died for various amounts of reasons, whether it be the honoring of a woman, being caught up in negative gang activity, dying because they had pain because they tried to or couldn't deal with the thoughts of their wives cheating on them, killing themselves because they lost their job, or more or less dying because they went unappreciated and didn't take care of their health because they took on the onerous burden of being a mule because they were more concerned about others than they were concerned about themselves. This is the Father's Day addiction as I commemorate the death of DMX because many men go unheard on this day. Imagine if men were exonerated to the level that their counterparts are exonerated to. Imagine if men were given the honor and the respect and dignity like our women are often given. How much more productive would these men be if their pains were heard? If their acts of service and kindness were more or less giving reverence? What would happen if these men were given the opportunity to tell their story and tell their story how oftentimes they feel that the role of being a father is often thankless? The times when they work dangerous jobs to prepare and to take care of their families. The times on Father's Day where they didn't get flowers or they didn't get nice gifts, they only got tools and basic average gifts. How many men actually go unnoticed on Father's Day? Because this is the Father's Day edition, and because in theology, the Bible says to honor thy father and thy mother, many times men are not honored not only in their homes, but they're not honored on Father's Day. And when you compare and contrast the story of DMX compared to the struggles of so many men, you can see a correlation how as DMX suffered in silence and never got the respect or no one ever heard his pains or his cries, many times many do not hear the pains and the cries of so many men that suffer in silence as well. Listen to this. I do what I do because I realize that many men need help. And oftentimes, as it relates to the struggles and the pain of men, the profession that I am in really does not address the struggles of men because everything that men go through is seen as toxic in America. We've forgotten the bridges that the men built. We've forgotten that the infrastructure that the men built. We forgot the roads and the houses and the homes and the tanks and the airplanes and all the convenience that men and women benefit from that they built. And because of the lack of reverence in society, as I spoke about my shows earlier, many men are walking away because they feel like they don't get the love, respect, and the attention that they deserve. And some of them, once again, have parroted the pain of DMX as so many men, if they're not dead, literally, they're actually walking zombies. They're walking zombies because no one has poured life into them. No one has heard their pain. No one has heard their story. No one has heard about their fears. No one has heard about their molestation. No one has heard about when they saw their mom bringing in multiple men unaccounted for. No one has heard about the trauma they went through seeing men hit their moms. No one has talked about the times where the moms made them do or participate in jobs or do things that were unscrupulous. No one talks about their pain because oftentimes the struggles of men are actually marginalized and minimized. And because of this, I've taken it upon myself to address issues related to men, because trauma is not gender specific. Trauma is not gender specific. Many men go through post-traumatic stress, and many go through acute stress disorders. And just like DMX, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't go through some unresolved post-traumatic stress that led to his substance use addiction. And I get it. Some people will say, well, he made the choice to use drugs. But where's the empathy for DMX as we have for some of our women counterparts? Why is it often when men go through pain, struggles, and silence, no one is actually willing to hear their pain? I want you to take the time to think about, as just as DMX struggled through pain, as DMX suffered in silence, as DMX went to the gravesite with pains untold. I want you to think about on this day, on Father's Day, how you can show 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 men that you love them, that you appreciate them, and that you support them in all their endeavors. You will be surprised how much men will accomplish when they feel loved, honored, and respected. But unfortunately, we live in a culture where everything that men do is often seen in the lens as being negative, dumb, or more or less non-contributing to society as a whole. I want to take the time to salute to all the great men in this world that have given us the comforts of this modern world that we live in. I want to take the time to tell you that I care about you, I support you, I believe in you, and that because of you, I have the peace that I have and the infrastructure that I benefit from. And just like some men that are blue collar have given me the infrastructure and the tools of utilization, I'm going to give you that mental health piece that you can use to carry on in this negative world where men are often marginalized, misunderstood, and not given the credit that they need in order to be successful. So I want you to take the time to understand, as it relates to men mental health, that one of the 7 principles for male optimization is actually health and or mental health. And I want you to remember this on this Father's Day, guys. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. Take the time, men, today to love yourselves, honor yourselves, respect yourselves, and take the time to sit on the patio and reflect. Because remember this, your time on this earth is short. And just like DMX, he went to the gravesite with dreams and pains untold. And some of you will go to the gravesite with dreams and pains untold if you don't take the time to take care of yourself and love yourself. Be well, brethren. Salute, kings.
4 in the morning, you got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, let's kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say